Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with more Sable's Grimoire JP III, VMSNOW.com. A little bit more professional, buttoned up, and ready to tackle the rest of this demo head on. Let's do this thing. Eager to escape the somber atmosphere of my own creation, I decided to see my dorm room for myself. S and Ray are both busy trying to find someone who can tell them their schedule, so for the time being, I'm on my own. So these are student dorms, huh? I live fairly close to my previous school, so I never lived in a dorm before. I guess I better start learning how to be more independent from now on. I followed the room numbers on each door until I reached my own. Floor 3, room 12. My new home for the duration of my time at Amadronia. Alright, here we go. I place my hands on the panel outside of the room. The moment I do so, my fingerprints are scanned and a small amount of aether is extracted from my body. That aether is then processed and back into my body and extracted once again. Finally, after this procedure is repeated a few times, the door is unlocked. That seems extraordinarily unnecessary. Why not just scan your fingers and be done with it? Sheesh, is that level of security really necessary? No, it's not. I get that the risk of a mage bypassing a lock or tricking conventional security measures is higher here than elsewhere, but this much scrutiny is really over the top. Yeah, it's almost like you're locked in a prison. And won't any winged students just fly up to their room's window anyway? This kind of security is totally out of place here. As fingerprints and iris scanners have become increasingly simple to bypass in recent years, new security measures have been eagerly sought. Oh god, here we go. In the case of mages, ace signatures, imprints of the unique makeup of an entity's life signature, have become the de facto standard for security. Unfortunately, like most worthwhile security measures, the process is neither quick nor convenient. Maybe the scanners are here for privacy reasons rather than security? These scanners are overkill when it comes to keeping outsiders away, but if the ones infiltrating the rooms are Magic Academy students, then this level of security is necessary to keep them out. I don't care. It may be over the top, but when you're dealing with students who can incinerate ordinary doors in a single breath, standard security measures just don't cut it. Okay, here's the thing. If this came up as part of natural conversation, this wouldn't be a problem. Like, just, okay, he goes in his room, he just notes, like I noted, it seems a bit extreme, goes in his room, walks around, leaves his room, comes back out later, and there's a student from another school running down the hallways after having been busted by the teachers because he was able to break in, or he attempted to break in and was busted by the security system. You can explain it that way. The crutch of explaining everything through monologue is really starting to show. And not really starting to show now, it's been showing the entire demo. But we don't need every little point explained and rationalized and justified for us. We can figure it out, or it can be better explained in the course of just exploring the world. I mean, as you can see, my pet peeves are starting to... Wait. Why are there bunk beds? Okay. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Finally dragging my eyes away from the door, I enter my dorm room at last. The moment I enter, I raise an eyebrow at the sight in front of me. Contrary to my expectations, I spy 2 beds, 2 desks, and the belongings of someone other than myself. As for the bed, the bottom bunk appears to be untouched, whereas the bottom bunk bed appears to be untouched, whereas the other has been neatly arranged with miscellaneous decorations scattered all around it. I'm not gonna make the joke. I've gotten myself in enough trouble with the little slip up in the last video. You guys can make the joke amongst yourselves, but I think we all know the joke I was gonna make here. From the look of things, it would seem that my roommate has arrived ahead of me. I didn't expect to have a roommate. I thought that a huge academy like this would provide a separate room for each student, considering the relatively low number of students in attendance. Oh well, as long as my roommate isn't violent or overly rowdy, I'm sure we'll get along. Hello, is anyone there? Anybody there? Here? I can't English. Hello? I walked through the room, turning my head left and right as I searched for my roommate. Did my roommate come up here earlier, before the opening ceremony, or did I just miss them? Shrugging my shoulders, I sit down on my own bed and begin to unpack. Although there isn't much for me to take out, there are at least spare clothes and toiletries to put away. Even in this age where magic assists in the production of so many goods, running out of clean clothes is just as valid a concern as ever. And yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't seem to be it really doesn't seem that magic has really influenced the world at all. They've kept in their space, and the humans have kept in their space, and rarely have the two actually intersected. So it's not so much as a unique science fantasy world that's being built here, but rather two completely ordinary fantasy and science fiction worlds that have just been smushed together with a big wall separating them when needed. Okay, that should just about do it. Now then, since my roommate isn't here, I guess I'll head back to the cafeteria and see. I mean, before we continue on, because we're probably about to meet the roommate. If it's not even in this game. It's not even in a game. I'm thinking more along the lines of Full Metal Alchemist, where specifically Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, where Ed was able to transmute himself clothes with magic. Not transmute himself clothes with alchemy. Excuse me. Alchemy and magic were the same thing in that show, but it showed how science and magic kind of intertwined, and the practical use of it beyond just, you know, the magical battles that happen in the show. If he tears up his coat, he can make himself a new coat. It's a little simple and pretty plain, but that should be the point in a world like that there are magical things that happen that are relatively plain. Okay, I'm done with that rant. Let's move on. A moment before my hand touches the door, I freeze. The sound of the door unlocking, more akin to the sound of something decompressing, fills the entire room as I unintentionally go silent. Wings enter my line of sight, followed by smooth golden hair. Light footsteps encroach upon me, and before long, I am standing face to face with my roommate. Hi there, Tics is here. You must be my roommate. Pleased to meet you. Tics extends one of her tiny hands towards me as she stares into my eyes, waiting for me to respond. Yeah, this can't go wrong at all. Yeah, likewise. I shake Tics' hand, careful not to exert too much force. So my roommate is a human, huh? And a male one at that. Oh, yeah. It seemed like there was a mix-up with my room assignment. I've already informed our grade advisor, but honestly, it didn't seem like she was going to do anything about it. I wouldn't worry about that. In fact, chances are that this arrangement is my mother's doing anyway. Your mother? Uh-huh. This is kind of embarrassing to admit, but you'd find out sooner or later anyway, so I might as well be upfront and just explain everything right off the bat. Oh, God. Can you keep it within a paragraph? That's all I ask. Let's get straight to the point. The truth is, I'm not here to study, or at least not to study magic. I actually enrolled at Amazonia in order to familiarize myself with males, and maybe even find a mate. Okay. I know that that's a thing that happens, but no. Well, let me pull back a little bit. Pull back a little bit here. Cause she's gonna be a romantic run in the game. Let's see if they come to some sort of deal with her, because half of playing your cards face up on the table is how the characters react and what they do with it. So let me can my emotions for a second. We're gonna put that to the side, and see how this new information comes into play. Come again? A mate, a spouse, a partner of the sexual variety. I don't know how much you know about pixies, but our race is 100% female. Naturally, this means that we need to crossbreed in order to survive as a species. Since there are no men in our societies, pixies generally venture into the domains of other races, find a mate, then return home after they've been impregnated. And that's why you've come to Amazonia, to become pregnant, then return home? Yep, that's the plan. Man, talk about a difference in culture. Pixies wander into the civilization of other races, engage in one-night stands until they get pregnant, then head back to their own villages. Any human who was caught doing that would no doubt wind up be called some rather nasty names. But if you think that you can just have your way with me and then get this room all to yourself, you should know that it won't be that easy. I won't settle for just anyone, you know? I'm not that kind of pixie. My mother has given me 2 years to find a suitable mate, so I'm not about to jump the first human I meet and call it a day. I'm glad to hear that. Although, now that I think about it, I suppose that wouldn't be too bad. I do want to return home as soon as possible, after all, and humans are a pretty safe bet when it comes to breeding. What's your family's medical history like? Any repeated incidents of heart disease or other hereditary illnesses? Not that I... Wait, why are you going along with this? Excellent. In that case, I might put you on the list of candidates after all. You see, pixies have a pretty low survival rate out in the wild. Our children are inherently very weak and quite susceptible to illnesses. We didn't need to know this. Furthermore, we tend to give birth to at least a dozen offspring at a time, and our gestation period is only 2 months, so we're prime targets for predators. But if I give birth in a safe place like this, and the father's family has a clean medical history, then that shouldn't be a problem at all. Okay. If I'm lucky, the entire litter might survive. I begin to back away from Tics. She seems like a nice, cheerful person, but in a certain sense, she's quite scary. Going off current impressions, Tics might just be more of a handful than Ray. Putting all this talk of breeding aside for a moment, did you happen to attend the opening ceremony this morning? The opening ceremony? Of course I did. What kind of idiot would miss something so important to me? Yeah, I know, right? I forced a smile into my face and continued. Well, let's say someone did miss the ceremony, or fell asleep halfway through. What do you think would be the most important thing for them to know? You mean like, if I were to summarize the key points of the ceremony? Oh dear God, please, just summarize. Again, within a paragraph, half a paragraph if possible. Yeah, exactly like that. Tics tilts her head to one side and immediately herself in thought. Let's see, blah blah blah, pride of the city, blah blah blah, use magic responsibly, blah blah blah, stop kicking the back of my chair. No, I don't think anything really important, there was really anything important covered. Oh, but they did mention that we receive our allowance at the start of each week. I see. I smile wryly as I catch another glimpse of Tics' nature. Please don't let me be in the same class as this girl. So anyway, now that we're good friends, what the hell did that happen? So anyway, now that we're good friends, don't you think it's time you introduce yourself? Or is it human custom to arrogantly ask questions of someone they're meeting for the first time? Rather than reciprocate Tics' passive aggression, I exhale deeply, then look her in the eye. Right, where are my manners? My name is Sable Labor, I'm an 18-year-old human, and this is my first time living in a dorm or having a roommate. I'll try not to inconvenience you, so if I do anything wrong, please don't hesitate to tell me. I smile and bow my head, immediately eliciting a gasp of surprise from Tics. Whoa, that was pretty good. How do you put on a genuine smile like that when harboring such negative emotions? Of course she can read emotions. I tilt my head up and gaze at Tics in confusion. Negative emotions? Yeah, you're just feeling something like, I'm so jealous of this beautiful pixie, but the whole time you had a bright smile on your face. How did you do that? Most of the humans whom I've met can't match their feelings at all. That's a pretty basic human trait. Like, we are really, really good at, not pretending, but hiding what we're thinking. I'm honestly taken aback by Tics' words. Although her words don't match my thoughts, she's completely correct about me harboring negative feelings towards her despite my smile. Most people will point out that my feelings were obvious, given Tics' rude words, but from the way she spoke, Tics made it sound like she could feel what I was feeling. Tics, can you read thoughts? Thoughts? Oh no, not at all. I simply noticed the changes in your complexion, breathing, and posture. Despite the smile you wore, you took a defensive stance, your breathing quickened, and a slight tinge of red appeared on your face. For a race which survives by reading danger signals from predators, gauging the emotions of a human being is frightfully simple. Wow. You're one scary fairy, you know that? What did you just call me? Eh? Oh, I was just saying that... Fairy, was it? You think I'm a fairy? No. I instinctively back away as Tics emanates danger unbefitting her small stature and cute face. Her voice is low and her eyes narrow. She looks like she's about to pounce at any second. Anyway, it's about time I return to the cafeteria. I wouldn't want to keep my new friends waiting. I'll talk to you later, okay? I walk past Tics and head for the door. The moment I reach for the doorknob, however, something takes hold of my arm. Oh, trying to escape, are we? So that's how humans do things. You commit a grave offense, then walk away and pretend like it never happened. Is that what's going on here, my friend? Pain sheaths up my arm as Tics tightens her grip. Contrary to her small size, Tics is able to exert tremendous pressure. I wouldn't expect that kind of strength from someone twice her size. Is Tics using muscle reinforcement magic? Though the dangers are clear for humans, other species aren't necessarily exposed to the same risk posed by muscle reinforcement magic. Thank you for letting us know. For a creature without a skeleton, for example, they may not need to worry about their muscles growing too large and crushing their bones. The undead avoid... You can't see me, but I'm making the get to the point motion. The undead avoid the risk of passing out from lack of blood. Large muscle-bound creatures like minotaurs can increase their strength many times over before noticing any side effects. In the case of a pixie, the risks are unknown to me, but at the very least, it's safe to say, due to their apparently low survival rate in the wild, muscle reinforcement magic is well worth the risk. I'm terribly sorry, Tics. Please forgive me. It was a slip of the tongue. It won't happen again. I desperately plead to the predatory pixie holding me captive. Tics glares at me, looking me deeply into my eyes, and as if she's trying to measure the sincerity in my statement. After a few seconds, Tics relaxes her grip, and I breathe a sigh of relief. Why didn't you just say so? Of course you are forgiven. Oh, thank goodness. I quickly reach for the door, urgently trying to make my escape. Oh, but one more thing before you go. Hesitantly, I turn my head. Yes? Fairies and pixies are mortal enemies. There's no greater insult for a pixie than to be called a fairy, and vice versa. So watch what you say, okay? In response to Tics' warning, all I can do is nod silently, then vanish from her side as quickly as humanly possible. So maybe the twist in this game really is that he's friends with a bunch of girls that can literally kill him without thinking about it. Still kind of plain, I gotta say. After dealing with Tics, I no longer feel like meeting up with Ray and F. Instead, I decided to head outside and resume my earlier tour of the campus grounds, giving myself time to clear my head before my first lesson at Amazonia can begin. As I wander outside the courtyard, looking up at the classrooms from outside, reality finally begins to set in. Although I've been taking it easy so far, the fact of the matter is that I will soon be sitting in one of those classrooms, studying subjects not taught in any other facility. On this day, I've become a student of the illustrious Amazonia Academy. With all of the detours and encounters I've experienced so far today, it's hard to think of this as a day of study. Even so, that's exactly what it is. My first day at a Magic Academy. It may seem surreal right now, but the reality of the situation is that I'll soon be sitting in a classroom filled with demi-humans studying my brains out. While I realize that we likely won't be doing anything difficult or especially interesting on our first day of class, I'm excited to begin nonetheless. To this day, I have remained completely self-taught. I have never... We know! Everything I know I learned from researching the works of others and attempting to recreate it myself. I wonder if I'll be able to adapt to a classroom environment. Having attended normal schools until now, I am no doubt at an advantage compared to other students here like Draken, but as far as actually using magic in front of a class full of students is concerned, I sure as I imagine myself failing miserably in front of my class. Even if I'm not socially awkward or afraid of crowds, relatively speaking at least, using magic in front of others is currently a big deal for me. During the entrance exam for Amazonia, I was required to perform basic spells in a private setting with teachers and administrators. Before that, however, I had never once used magic in front of a complete stranger. It's not that I'm ashamed to be a mage or embarrassed about my weak output. If anything, it's quite the opposite. I'm proud of myself. I strongly believe that I've realized certain truths about magic which nobody else has, and that I can do things nobody else has figured out to do. Very high opinion of himself. But if that's wrong, if I do my best in front of a classroom full of people and nobody's impressed in the slightest, then where does that leave me? At the beginning, with everyone else. I mean, this character only works if he goes against the grain of the archetype. If he's that exact archetype, then, you know what, we're moving on. I've already ranted enough. At least to the end of the video. No, I can't afford to start thinking that way. I am onto something. I have made discoveries that nobody else has. Even if my work is found to be derivative, or similar to someone else's, my research is definitely not in vain, and it will have an impact on others. I'm going to become a world-renowned magic researcher. Just you wait and see. I unconsciously pump my fist in front of my body as I psych myself up. What are you doing? What? I jump to the side as a bemused voice calls out to me from behind. Are you? Okay, you really are following me. Greeting me with a deadpan expression is Leisha, who seems unfazed by my reaction. Leisha? I have been called as such, yes. Now, will you answer my question, Sable? Is this some kind of training or ritual? I would like to hear. If this is some kind of training or ritual, I would like to hear about it. I ponder Leisha's words for a moment as I think back over my actions. All I did was walk around with my head down, then pump my fist in front of me. A peculiar sight to be sure, but nothing worth thinking about. Oh, we actually get a choice! Oh my goodness. Is Leisha's level of scrutiny really necessary? In this case, it's probably best just to be honest. I sigh out loud, just smile wryly as I address Leisha. No, it's nothing like that. There's really no great meaning behind what I just did, and it's certainly not something as important as a ritual. Oh, if there is no meaning behind your action, why did you do it? I scratch my head as I think of how to explain myself. I don't know. It's like, have you raised your arms above your head as a sign of victory, or placed your hands on your hips while reprimanding someone? No, I have never acted in such a manner. Okay, let's take a good look at the girl in front of us. Do you notice anything about her bodily position? Just saying. How about crossing your arms when you're dissatisfied, or tilting your head when you're confused? No, I have not. If that's the case, then her character model needs to be just completely still and her arms straight down. The way she's holding her body indicates completely differently from the dialogue. You're not making this easy. I hang my head in defeat. I never realized that such a basic behavior of human beings could be completely absent from a race which is so similar to us biologically. No, wait. Maybe Leisha does do all those things, but she simply lacks self-awareness? If nothing else, she at least seems to alter her facial expressions in the same manner as everyone else. All of those actions you mentioned, are they common among human folks? I mean, here's the thing. Even if that's the case, somebody would have told her by now. I can understand the benefit of altering your stance as a means of conveying intent to a third party. However, the actions of which you spoke all seemed unnecessarily conspicuous and exaggerated. Rather than using such actions to express intent, it seems to me like you humans simply enjoy frivolity. Yes, that might be the case. Maybe it would be best if you just thought of those actions as supplementary methods of communication. Are they? In a manner of speaking, yes, though we mostly do it unconsciously. I see. Leisha's face warps slightly as she thinks over what I've told her. After a few moments of contemplation, she lowers her head again and sighs. How foolish. Why would one wish to make their feelings so abundantly clear and easy to read? To unconsciously announce your feeling to others, I can only see this as a weakness. Says the girls whose facial expressions match her every word. Yeah. There's no maybe about it. This girl definitely lacks self-awareness. Well, that is a nice enough character trait. I'll let that one slide. I mean, if she is legitimately designed to just show that she has no awareness of herself, then it fits into her trope, but it's not unaware of itself. So that could lead to some fun things. I decided against pointing out the fallacy in Leisha's argument. Instead, I changed the topic to something I actually want to discuss. So, Leisha, we meet out here once again. Did you come here straight after the opening ceremony? Indeed, I did. Why didn't you go with everyone else to the cafeteria? Aren't you hungry? Like I could eat the pre-processed gruel served en masse by humans. I'm pretty sure none of the cafeteria staff here are humans. What's more, some of the dishes I saw on the menu were about as far from pre-processed as you can get. Yeah, the gnats were a pretty big sign. Be that as it may, I still feel no desire to eat in that stuffy room, surrounded by strangers on every side. I would rather spend my time out here, sitting beneath the trees and breathing in fresh air. When you put it like that, I really can't blame you. But is that really okay? You might miss something important if you keep going off on your own. Are you truly in a position to say that? I can look up whatever information I need on my terminal. So wait, you kind of lack some self-awareness too, buddy. So even if I miss a few lectures, I'll be okay. That's right, isn't it? Leisha displays slight frustration as I remind her of the ability which only one of us currently possesses. In that case, I suppose it can't be helped. If I lose my way, I will come to you for support. Leisha, are you? Do not misunderstand. I'm merely saying that I will be relying on you as one student to another. So she does have some you know what? This game is starting to confuse me. I mean, her hiding her intentions is a sign of self-awareness. We're in the same class after all. It is our responsibility as classmates to support one another. Leisha pouts unhappily while unintentionally sharing her true feelings. I mean, if she was self-aware, she would just kind of brush it off. She wouldn't go through this whole tsundere thing. And I guess that's the problem with the whole tsundere archetype, and I can go into a rant about that, but we're not going to do that today. You even looked up which class I've been placed in. I did no such thing. I was simply glancing through the names on my class list, and I happened to notice your name on there. It's not like I was searching for your name in particular or anything. Oh, dear God. Welcome back, Sundari Princess, you've been missed. Leisha defends herself in a fluster, desperately trying to convince me of the fact that she hasn't given me a second thought since our meeting earlier. In you know, Leisha, when you get embarrassed, even your ears start to turn red. On an elf, that's actually quite a sight. I am not embarrassed! Fooling nobody, Leisha clenched her fist and asserted herself once more. Calm down, Leisha, I'm just messing with you. Man, your friends must have a lot of fun teasing you. She doesn't have any friends, does she? Whatever. A true friend would not seek to harass me in the first place. What's the fun in that? I spoke to myself and inwardly thanked Leisha. While meeting up with Leisha was not part of my plan when I first came out here, joking around with her helped improve my mood for the better. Even if she comes off as a bit unsociable, I think I'll be able to get along well with Leisha. So, Miss Valedictorian, will you be coming to class shortly, or do you plan on staying out here a while longer? I will show my face in due time. For the moment, however, I wish to refrain from fraternizing with the others any more than necessary. Fraternizing? I'm talking about our classmates. How could you already have a low opinion of them? I take it that you did not attend the opening ceremony. I raised an eyebrow at Leisha's words, then shake my head. I thought as much. Mingling with those cretins would be a waste of time. You'll see what I mean when you enter the classroom. Leaving behind those ominous words, Leisha begins to walk away, heading in the opposite direction of the academy. Wherever she's heading, it seems like Leisha is in no rush to join her classmates and I, and before long, I shall find out why. Alright, let's put a pin in it there. We're not quite done with the demo yet, so when we come back, I'm sure it's Draken and a few others, so our clash will surely be interesting. Leave a like if you've enjoyed the series so far. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. And VNsNow.com. It is VNsNow.com for more fun pedantic analysis and Sundari princesses. We've had 2 so far this month. That surely won't be the last.